The big news break that's come in right now on the National Herald case as the first charge sheet has been filed by the Enforcement Directorate, naming Sonia Gandhi, naming Rahul Gandhi. I want to bring in Munish Pandey as we're putting out a copy of the charge sheet that we've accessed. Munish, what exactly will this mean for the Gandhis? They're out on bail in this particular case. With this charge sheet being filed, how does this amount to more trouble for the Gandhis?
Well, charge sheet becomes very serious in nature, Akshita, because the next stage after any charge sheet is filed is that a trial in this case can start. And as of now, the ED has named Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi in this charge sheet, which means that trouble is mounting for both of them. Now, what we are learning from our sources, what is mentioned in the charge sheet is regarding the National Herald properties. And the allegations are, Akshita, very serious. In layman language, in one line we can say what ED is alleging here is that merely for 50 lakh rupees they acquired properties worth more than 2,000 crore rupees. That is what the allegation is. And according to the details accessed by India Today, there are 3 properties belonging to Associated Journals Limited. In those 3 properties are in Delhi, along with one in Mumbai and one in Lucknow. These properties are worth more than 2,000 crore rupees. But Young India Limited was the beneficial owner. And what is Young India? Young India is having directors like Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi, which means that Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi are, directors of, Young India Limited. Now, according to the allegations, the property is worth more than 2,000 crore were fraudulently acquired by Young India Limited, owned by Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi, for merely 50 lakh rupees. The total allegation is that they acquired this property and they were also generating rent along with donations for Young India Limited. The ED has also alleged that more than 50 crore was generated through rent and donations. So the allegations are very serious in nature. Of course, this matter is linked to Gandhi family, directly linked to Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi. So it becomes very political in nature.
The charge sheet that you've accessed, I've just been going through the details. If you look at point number 8, it says very clearly, proposed accused number 1 and 2 are sitting MPs from the Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha. There are high-profile politicians besides Rahul and Sonia Gandhi. But can we go ahead and assume here that the ED is referring to proposed accused number 1, in which case A1 is Sonia Gandhi and A2 is Rahul Gandhi?
Well, Akshita, it would be safe to say. It would be safe to say because what we are learning is that Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi have been named in this charge sheet. And why we are assuming this at this point of time is because both these individuals, both Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi, they were called in for questioning by the Enforcement Directorate. Their statements were recorded. Akshita, you also covered that particular event when Rahul Gandhi was called in by the Enforcement Directorate for 5 days. Even Sonia Gandhi was called in by the Enforcement Directorate. Her statement was recorded. Congress leaders were on the street across the country. So, that was part of the investigation by the Enforcement Directorate. They had to record statement, and that is why those statement becomes extremely important, because the next follow-up after those statements were recorded was when the ED will file the charge sheet. And now ED has filed the charge sheet. So what we are learning is that Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi have been named. Importantly, and what is very crucial and critical here is that the allegations pertains to fraudulent acquiring the properties belonging to National Herald. And the total amount which the ED is giving is that for 50 lakh rupees, you acquired properties worth more than 2,000 crore rupees. You were also getting rent, but those rents were not being reflected in the books of account, which becomes extremely important for any NGO or for any political party. So these are the serious allegations in nature. And at this point of time, what we are learning is that the charge sheet has been filed, cognizance has been taken. Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi, of course, they are, they are on bail. But the next step for the Enforcement Directorate will be, they'll be approaching court asking to start a trial in this case.
You know, there's a lot of talk right now. This is a case that's been going on for the last many years. 2014 is when the Enforcement Directorate formally lodged a complaint and a case based on a complaint by Subramanian Swamy. And the allegations were directly against the Gandhis as well as several other senior Congress leaders. Right now, in 2025, the fact that this case now has a charge sheet being filed, there's a lot of talk already of political conspiracy, Munish, but it's important to put it in context here that the reason you're seeing this charge sheet being filed right now is because on April 11th, you had the ED initiating proceedings to go ahead and attach properties of immovable assets worth 661 crores. So this is essentially the next step after that.
That's very important, Akshita, and that is what I was mentioning. On April 11, the Enforcement Directorate sent the letter to acquire these properties, these three properties, one National Herald house in Delhi, another property in Lucknow, and the second property, and the third property is in Mumbai. All these three properties, belongs to the National Herald, and these properties were illegally acquired by Young Indian Limited, where Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi are the directors, we can say beneficial owners of Young India Private Limited. Now, this possession letter means that now ED wants to take over possession of these properties. And why ED wants to take over possession? Because ED suspects that these three properties were being used for money laundering purpose. And remember, Akshita, why this charge sheet is important. This is not a FEMA case. This is a money laundering case. Money laundering is far more serious in comparison to FEMA. And in money laundering cases, what we have seen is that, ED can go ahead not only with recording the statements, not only by filing the charge sheet, but also they go ahead with trial in the case. So in this case, it is expected that the next course of action by the Enforcement Directorate will be, they will be asking the court to start a trial in the case. Of course, it will be seen what the next legal step from the Congress party is going to be, because these are two top leaders of the Congress party, Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi. And in past, we have seen that whenever Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi were questioned by the Enforcement Directorate, not only the Congress workers, but the top leaders of Congress party were on the street. But at the very same time, the BJP will also leave no stone unturned to call them a corrupt family or a corrupt party. Akshita.
This has huge political repercussions, obviously. Munish, I'll ask you to stay on with us just to re-jog our viewers' memories of what exactly this case is all about and how is it linked to Rahul and Sonia Gandhi. I'll explain it to you. The National Herald was a newspaper that was owned originally by the Associated Journals Limited. It was a newspaper that ceased operations essentially in 2008. Now, Young India Limited was a company owned by Sonia Gandhi. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Essentially, National Herald newspaper was bought by Young Indian from AGL. But the manner of the transaction is what led to several questions. First, let me highlight, in December 2010, you had the AGL receiving a 90 crore interest-free loan. This loan was from the Congress. There itself, there were questions of how this loan came through. Interest-free and 90 crore. Remember that number. Then as far as Young India goes, where's the question mark here of impropriety? The reason is the manner in which National Herald was bought and undervalued. Essentially, Young Indian Limited managed to, in fact, acquire 99.99% of AGL's shares, of Associated Journals Limited's share. And so they've essentially taken control of all AGL assets. The question that came up here, and that was mentioned in the complaint, was the assets of AGL. Was it correctly calculated? In the sense, was the asset amount actually handed over by Young India Limited? And it's over this, essentially, that there is a question mark. Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi are part of Young India Limited, which is why their role right now is under scrutiny, as are several other Congress leaders, Motilal Vora, for example, who is also, in fact, in this particular case. Let me also highlight, and I'll bring in Munish again on this. Munish, this case has haunted the Gandhis for quite some time. A few years ago, they'd been granted bail in the National Herald case itself. So in that particular bail hearing also, run us through the kind of reactions that came in. Okay, just before I bring in Munish, let's get you a reaction from the Congress. Jairam Ramesh has taken to social media to question what's really happening in the National Herald case. As expected, the crime political conspiracy. Jairam Ramesh has said, and I quote here from his post on social media, seizing the assets of the National Herald is a state-sponsored crime masquerading as the rule of law. filing charge sheet against Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi and some others is nothing but politics of vendetta and intimidation by the PM and the HM gone completely berserk. The Indian National Congress and its leadership will not be silenced. They're calling it an attempt to silence their leaders, to silence the Gandhis, claiming it's politics of vendetta, politics of intimidation. Not surprising, really, that this is turning fully political. As expected, the moment the ED charge sheet was filed, the Congress immediately cried foul, saying that Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi are being targeted. They've referred to the National Herald case and the fact that ED has seized the assets of National Herald as a state-sponsored crime. So this is, in fact, the reaction that's coming in right now. The reason you've got, in fact, Jairam Ramesh up in arms is because property registrars in Delhi, Mumbai, Lucknow were all sent notices directing them to take over AGL assets under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. And this is important because right now AGL assets are with Young India. So then that's where the question comes of the ED going ahead and cracking the whip on Rahul Gandhi, on Sonia Gandhi. Munish, if you look at really the charges right now, and even as the Congress is crying foul, not really surprising, you look at the charges against the Gandhis. There's a question of course, undervaluation of assets, of money laundering as well. So just explain to us, what is the allegation of money laundering here?
Well, Akshita, I have some details as far as this charge sheet is concerned. According to sources, not only the money laundering allegations, but one important aspect of this charge sheet is also that the AGL Young India Limited was allegedly used to generate illicit funds of more than 18 crore through bonus donations and advance rent of 38 crore rupees and rupees 29 crore through advertisement. So apart from, acquiring these properties illegally through fraudulent manner, there are three more allegations. One is using the network to generate illicit funds of more than 18 crore rupees, getting bogus donations worth more than 18 crore, rent of 38 crore rupees and 29 crore through advertisements. These are the allegations by the Enforcement Directorate. Apart from the main allegation is that they acquired properties worth more than 2,000 crore rupees fraudulently by giving just a nominal sum of rupees 50 lakh, which went through Young Indian Limited. Now, Akshita, if we go by the timeline of this case, remember in 2014, for the first time, Dr. Subramanian Swamy filed a complaint before the lower court saying that there should be investigation in the case. The Congress party, they went to higher court, they went to even Supreme Court. But both these courts ruled in favor of the Enforcement Directorate, saying that there should be an investigation in the case. That is when in 2021, the Enforcement Directorate registered an ECIR and they started investigation in the case. During the investigation, they recorded statements of several top leaders of the Congress party, and during the course of recording those statements, two most important leaders of the Congress party, that is Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi, who are the directors of Young Indian Private Limited, they were called in for questioning. Sonia Gandhi's and Rahul Gandhi's statements were recorded for days, and finally the Enforcement Directorate has filed this charge sheet. Recently, they moved ahead for the possession letter, which means that the ED now wants to take over possession of these three properties, which according to ED are worth more than 2,000 crore rupees. And here we are talking about a money laundering case, Akshita, and you rightly pointed out, because it is a charge sheet under Prevention of Money Laundering Act, this becomes far more serious in nature, when it comes to the Gandhis.
Okay, Munish getting us those details. Munish, just stay with us. What we're seeing right now is a charge sheet being filed by the Enforcement Directorate after they sought to attach assets of Associated Journals Limited worth 2,000 crores. And that really is what's prompted also a charge sheet to be filed. Jairam Ramesh of the Congress is saying that seizing the assets of the National Herald is a state-sponsored crime. Now, this is a formal investigation, mind you, which is being referred to as a state-sponsored crime by the Congress. As we get you all the details, let's quickly cut across to the political reactions also that have come in to this big news break of further trouble for Gandhis as the National Herald case continues to haunt them, with the ED now filing a charge sheet, paving the way for a formal trial now against Rahul and Sonia Gandhi.
But that's an expected sort of reaction coming from the Congress party, Rahul. In fairness, we need to go back to the merits of the case. The National Herald matter involves the takeover of the National Herald by a company called or a trust called Young Indians. Broadly, the entire assets shifted for a paltry sum to the control of the Nehru Gandhi family. If I recall correctly, the Nehru Gandhi family, with Sonia Gandhi and others, are possibly out on bail. Several related issues also, they did not get any legal sort of benefit, because after all the matter had gone on before the Congress, before the income tax also. So the answer lies in the merits of the case, rather than just simply coming up with a statement that this is vendetta politics. Secondly, if a charge sheet is filed, then by due process, it will now go before a court. The court will then look at whether charges need to be framed, take cognizance of it. And that would be an opportunity for them to be able to legally point out, is there enough material that cognizance of the charges should not be taken? But given the history and what is in the public domain, that is something, while due process of court will decide on it, certainly there are several very difficult questions that they need to answer.
Okay, let me bring in Imran Masood, Congress MP, joining us on this broadcast with his view on what's happening. Imran Masood जी, जैसे हम अभी दिखा रहे हैं इंडिया टुडे पे, ईडी ने चार्जशीट फाइल किया है नेशनल हेरल्ड केस में, आपको क्या कहना है इसके बारे में?
देखिए, ईडी की विश्वसनीयता लगातार घट रही है और एक इतनी अच्छी संस्था जिस काम पे लगाया गया था, उसने वो काम छोड़ करके वो लग गई है इस काम के ऊपर कि नेताओं को किस तरह से मैनेज किया जाए। तो ये बड़ा दुर्भाग्य है और बहुत ही दुखद है। और जिस तरह से नेशनल हेराल्ड केस के अंदर, अखबार के मामले के अंदर जबरदस्ती आपने बार बार, पहले आपने कुछ नहीं किया, 10 साल फिर पेंडिंग रखा। मतलब आप कभी भी फाइल अपने सिलेक्टिवली टाइम देख करके फाइल खोल देते हो, फाइल बंद कर देते हो।
सिलेक्टिव टाइमिंग क्या है अभी इमरान मसूद जी, अभी क्यों कर रहे हैं आपके हिसाब से?
जी, अभी आज गुजरात में है ना, हम इसलिए कर रहे हैं और किस लिए कर रहे हैं? सारी पार्टी गुजरात में है आज राहुल जी गुजरात के अंदर संगठन सर्जन
तो आपको लग रहा है कि गुजरात कैंपेन के इसलिए कर रहे हैं क्योंकि राहुल गांधी गुजरात में है?
और इसके अलावा क्या है? उसके अलावा तो कुछ लग नहीं रहा मुझे तो लग नहीं रहा। बहरहाल कुछ हो, मुझे नहीं पता।
जो एलिगेशंस है इमरान मसूद जी राहुल गांधी के खिलाफ, सोनिया गांधी के खिलाफ मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग के है, और ये जो केस है, कंप्लेंट और केस जो फाइल हुआ था वो 10 साल पहले हुआ था, तो अभी भी इन्वेस्टिगेशन जारी है, अभी पॉलिटिकल कॉन्स्पिरेसी क्यों?
देखिए, सिलेक्टिवली आपको जब टाइम सूट करता है आप उसको फाइल को ओपन करते हो। अभी आपको लग रहा है
इमरान मसूद जी, आप फिर बोल रहे हो कि 10 साल में कुछ अप्रोप्रिएट टाइम नहीं था, अभी ही मिला।
नहीं, इनको तो देखे ना, मैंने बताया ना, अभी सुबह ही रॉबर्ट साहब को समन इशू करेंगे, फिर राहुल जी के खिलाफ और सोनिया जी के। तो गुजरात जाने से इतनी परेशानी क्यों हो गई कि एकदम इस तरह से इतने तेजी से एक्शन होना शुरू हो गया? आपको ऐसा क्या डर लग रहा है गुजरात जाने से राहुल जी के?
ठीक है, Imran Masood ji, thank you for joining us here on India Today. The Congress maintaining that all of this is a political conspiracy. They're linking it to Rahul Gandhi's campaign in Gujarat, saying that's why right now you're seeing, in fact, these developments by the Enforcement Directorate. I'd like to bring in Srishti Oja, also our legal correspondent, with more details on what this charge sheet really will mean for Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi, who already have faced quite a few legal troubles because of the National Herald case, Srishti. Now what will happen with the charge sheet being filed by the Enforcement Directorate?
Well, Akshata, this is definitely a big development in the case. Also, in a way, a setback against Congress leaders Rahul Gandhi, Sonia Gandhi, and also Sam Pitroda, who have been now named as an accused in the prosecution complaint that has been filed by the Enforcement Directorate. Basically, money laundering. They have been charged with money laundering allegations. This charge sheet has been filed before Rouse Avenue Court. If you see the charge sheet, a person named Suman Dubey and some other persons have also been named in this particular charge sheet. Now, considering the matter relates to parliamentarians and sitting MP MLAs, the concerned court that has been hearing this matter is the special MP MLA court, which hears matters relating to MPs and MLAs which are going on. In this particular case, we've also seen the court ask for the court records and the case diaries. So on 25th April, the next step would be for the court to hear arguments with regard to taking cognizance of the charge sheet. Once the arguments are heard, orders are reserved, the matter is decided and cognizance of the charge sheet is taken, that is when the court summons the concerned accused. The arguments basically decides whether or not the court finds that the case fit enough to even take cognizance of the particular prosecution complaint which has been filed. Once the court reserves its orders or decides to take cognizance, that is when the court decides to also summon the accused, which in this case would be Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi. As of now, the court has asked the Enforcement Directorate Counsel and also the investigating officer in this case to ensure that the case diaries related to this particular case are produced before the court. One another thing that we've seen the court mention is that several documents relating to the main matter, the predicate offence in this case, are before a different judge, that is pending before a court of the ACJ, the judicial magistrate. And those files also will have to be perused with regard to the predicate offence will also have to be perused by the concerned court while it decides to take cognizance.
Srishti, explain something to us. With this charge sheet being filed, we already know that there have been legal proceedings already going on in this case, which is why Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi also got bail. How is that different now with this charge sheet being filed and this trial that's set to kick off?
Well, Akshita, while investigation in a case goes on, once a complaint or an FIR in any case is filed, filing of a charge sheet marks a very important step as far as the legal procedure and the legal investigation and also the process of trial is concerned. It's an extremely crucial step because the investigating agency files an entire complaint accusing where these persons are named as an accused and certain charges are also made against the concerned accused. The investigating agency lays down in details the evidence that it has collected, the evidence that it has collected throughout the investigation, and also what offences, according to the investigating agencies, these accused have committed. It also becomes important because now the court is in a position where after the investigation is complete, the court has a prosecution complaint and a charge sheet before it, where the court decides to go through the allegations made against the accused concerned and also decide whether a cognizance of this complaint has to be taken or not. So once the court takes cognizance, the trial, it then moves on to next step of the trial where then we see examination, cross-examination, etc., and other steps taking place. The reason this becomes extremely important is it's an important development is because it also acts as a very important step as far as the trial in this case is concerned. Once investigation is done by the investigating agencies, charge sheets are filed laying down all the allegations, the main allegations against the accused. The court then decides whether or not it's a fit case for it to take cognizance, and then we see the court decide whether or not the accused in this case are to be summoned or not. Back to you.
So we'll see how it plays out legally, but it is definitely going to spell trouble for Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi. In that charge sheet, seemingly they've been referred to as A1 and A2. A1, Sonia Gandhi, A2, Rahul Gandhi. I'd like to bring in Mumtaz Patel of the Congress joining us on this broadcast. Mumtaz, your reaction to what we're seeing right now with the Enforcement Directorate going ahead and charge sheeting Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi in the National Herald case?
Just wondering the timing of it as usual. I mean, you might say that this is just defense, but where is the legality in the case? They were granted bail by the court in 2015. And at this point of time, all I can see is another distraction tactic by the government while the country is burning over the Waqf issue. And also with Rahul Gandhi ji calling out in Gujarat. And being more...
But Mumtaz, I wonder, what would have been the right time for this kind of step? Let's say it happened last year. You would have said it's time to the general elections. Let's say it happened a few months ago. You would have timed it to something else. So is there a right time for this kind of action? Shouldn't agencies not give in to political pressure?
But is there any proper legality in the case to be even doing this? Subramaniam Swamiji filed this case, and this has been going on and dragging on for years on end. So I'm just wondering what is the purpose behind it? And the legality in the entire case.
So essentially, the reason we're seeing this charge sheet is because the ED moved to go ahead and attach assets. I'm sure the agencies don't look into really political motive or conspiracy, and if they did, that's a very dangerous precedent, isn't it?
if you see what happened with the income tax during Lok Sabha elections, they froze a national party's bank accounts right before the elections. So when you say timing of it, it's not just about timing. These are political optics. You have to keep the issue burning so that people have something to talk about. That's all I can say. It might sound like weak defense, but this is what has been happening in this country for the last so many years. That they keep bringing the Gandhis in the picture. They keep bringing Congress in the picture. I mean, if corruption was the issue, what happened to 3G, 4G? What happened to CAG? Why haven't you been able to have a conviction in 13 or 11 years of BJP rule yet? Why do you keep bringing it up year after year? You just keep it burning and keeping it alive.
Well, unfortunately, the criticism that constantly comes in from the opposition at the agencies is that they move far too slowly on cases, which may be the case here too, because it's taken 10 years for a charge sheet to be filed. But having said that, Mumtaz, look at the details that have emerged of the money laundering allegations against Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi. They're out on bail. So this has been legally pursued as well. It's not come out of the blue.
Absolutely not. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying it works for the government right now to keep this issue burning. And the technicalities of the case, I'm sorry at this point of time. I mean, I wasn't completely prepared with this thing, but of course, what I'm trying to say is that this is something where I mean, it is vendetta. That's all I can say. The Gandhis have been on bail. That's fine. But when you say money laundering, if you look at the details of the case, that is not how it is. It is they have used technicality to rope the Gandhis in. That's what I can say.
No, so Mumtaz, I'll just give you a quick sense of what this case is. 2,000 crores of assets of a company. 2,000 crores of assets that a company owns. And then another company acquires it for 50 lakhs. Ignore the fact that the Gandhis are involved. Ignore the names. If there's these kind of numbers, immediately, don't you, I mean, sirens will go off. This clearly reeks of some sort of...
It does not. The funds don't belong to Sonia ji or Rahul ji. It is just a technical transfer from one company to another. So where is the money
there's corruption, but not linked to the Gandhis.
No, no. I'm saying that if you have filed a charge sheet on Mrs. Gandhi and Mr. Rahul Gandhi, it is not that they own this money or this money was transferred in their name.
Okay, Mumtaz, I'll request you to stay with me because there is a quick update and I'd like your reaction on that as well. Because on the day that the EDs charge-sheeted Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi, Robert Vadra was also summoned, was also questioned today in another case. The ED has grilled Robert Vadra for 9 hours. He's been called again for questioning tomorrow. Remember, this is to do with the 2008 Haryana land deal case in which Robert Vadra has been questioned. And there are questions here about really this land deal and allegations of impropriety to the tune of 50 crores plus. 9 hours Robert Vadra has been grilled. He, of course, cried political conspiracy this morning when we spoke to him. And you can see these images as he emerged out of the ED headquarters, refused to really give any statement to the media. But tomorrow again, Robert Vadra has been summoned by the Enforcement Directorate. It's because of these images on the same day as Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi being charge-sheeted that the Congress is crying foul here, saying that one family is being targeted, that the Enforcement Directorate is going after one family. Robert Vadra in trouble for a 2008 case. And Amit Bharadwaj is joining us live from the ED office. Amit, quick update from you. Robert Vadra has left. What have you picked up from your sources on his questioning? Okay, let's get you a report first, filed by Amit the moment Robert Vadra emerged from the ED headquarters.
So right there, Robert Vadra leaving the Enforcement Directorate office after nearly 8 hours of questioning. So in the morning, he came around 11 in the morning to the Enforcement Directorate office and had left around 1:30 in the noon for a lunch break of an hour. And after another round of nearly 4 hours of questioning.
Which I've answered before are being answered again. It's no issue. I have nothing to hide. Everything is answered. Everything will be answered again.
The prosecution complaint has been filed against Rahul and Sonia. Sir, what do you have to say, sir? Side the way. Robert sir.
Robert Vadra making his way out. Brief message to the media where he says he's cooperating with the agencies. Remember, he's been summoned again for questioning tomorrow. Let me just get in a quick reaction from Mumtaz Patel on this. On the same day as the ED charge sheeting Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi, you have Robert Vadra, Mumtaz, being called in for questioning by the Enforcement Directorate in a 2008 land deal case. Questioned today, will be questioned tomorrow as well.
Okay, so firstly, going back to the other case, the National Herald case, you know, Young India Private Limited is a non-profit company. Now, you are, like I said, there are there is a technical scrutiny, but it is definitely, it has been definitely used as a political vendetta. When you come to Robert Vadra, it's a 2008 case. He has been summoned enough times. He has given thousands of documents. What is taking ED so long? Why are you questioning him again and again and again? The timing of it, of course, if you had anything against him, why haven't you convicted him by now?
Okay, that's a question that you're raising. Tomorrow again, Robert Vadra. 2008 case, yes, that's come back to haunt him now. And at this point, the Congress saying, how is it that on the same day all of this is happening where one family is being targeted? Thank you, Mumtaz Patel, for joining us here on India Today with your view on all that's playing out right now. Dramatic developments spelling more and more trouble right now for the Congress High Command. For Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi and Robert Vadra there has been questioned by the Enforcement Directorate on the very same day. This is, in fact, in connection with a money laundering probe, much like Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi in the National Herald case. The allegation against them is money laundering. Here, too, against Robert Vadra, the allegation is of money laundering. It's linked to a land deal in Haryana, the Shikopur land deal. Robert Vadra, on his part, has dismissed all of the allegations, labeling it, as expected, as part of a political vendetta. He claims he's always raised his voice for the public, and that's why he is being targeted by agencies which are being misused. But what's the allegation against him? Vadra is accused of money laundering in a 2008 land deal, and he had skipped the first summons, which was issued on April 8th. Here's what the ED says. Vadra's company purchased a 3.5-acre plot. This was in Gurgaon Shikopur area, and they purchased this from another property group for 7.5 crores in February 2008. So remember that number, 7.5 crores. Vadra's company then sold that land for 58 crores to DLF. So look at the difference really in that sum. 7.5 crores to 58 crores. That land was sold to DLF. So the agency suspects that the proceeds from this transaction are part of a money laundering scheme. And so they're investigating that money trail of where all of that money went. How is it from 7.5 crores it went up to 58 crores? That's an increase of 700%. And if you're wondering of the time frame, 5 months Robert Vadra bought that property and sold it off. So no matter 5 months, from 7 crores, it rose right up to 58 crores. So this is what the ED is looking into.
Mr. Vadra, what's your word on the allegations that have been delivered against you?
Totally misuse of the agencies. I speak for the minorities. I speak for the people of the country, and they misuse the agencies and try and quiet me down, stop me. They stop Rahul in the Parliament and they stop me on the ground. Yeah.
Are you dubbing it as a political conspiracy?
100%. Everybody knows. Everybody knows.
So let's give you a quick timeline of what this 2008 land deal is about. So this was a 3.5-acre parcel of land in Gurugram that Vadra bought. This was in February 2008. So like I said, he bought this for 7.5 crores. Let's quickly pull out those details as well. Now, after that, the title was transferred to Vadra within 24 hours of purchase. So it was directly given to him. And that's why when that amount, in fact, was given to Robert Vadra, he then sold it to DLF for 58 crores. So 7.5 crores to 58 crores, 51 crores right now is what they're looking into, is what, in fact, the ED is looking into, about whether this is money laundering, where did this money go? That, at this point, is something that the ED is investigating. Months ago, before the Waqf Amendment Bill was in the focus, there came a story from Tamil Nadu. This is from Tamil Nadu's Tiruchendurai, where the Waqf Board had claimed an entire village belonged to them, and this included a 1,500-year-old temple. It was the story of these villages that sparked the debate on reform of Waqf, and it was an eye-opener for so many of us. Now comes another story from Tamil Nadu, from Vellore, which is just a few hours from Chennai, where again, it's a repeat of the same template. An entire village with 150 families now in the lurch. The land they owned, where they lived, is no longer theirs because, yes, the Waqf has claimed it too. Now, we're not confirming or denying what the villagers have said. We're merely giving them a platform. And unlike before, today, courtesy the Waqf Act, the villagers can actually challenge the Waqf's claim over their land, which is why this reform was brought in, to ensure that for so many helpless villagers, whether it's in Tamil Nadu's Tiruchendurai or here in Vellore, or for that matter in Kerala's Munambam, they have options. They have ways to challenge such claims on their land. Our next report gets you voices from the ground. Aniga Keshav reports.
Another village in Tamil Nadu swallowed by Waqf. In Tamil Nadu's Vellore district, a village with 150 families has been taken over by the Waqf Board. This is the second time such a Waqf land loot has been reported in Tamil Nadu. Villagers in Tiruchendurai have been fighting the Waqf Board's claims on the land, including a 1,500-year-old Chola temple. This time it's Katukulai, a small village in Vellore that has been claimed by Waqf. Villagers marched to the collector's office seeking justice, claiming their homes are no longer theirs. India Today travelled to the village to find out what locals had to say.
A man named Syed Ali Sultan, who is a caretaker of a nearby mosque, has issued notices to the villagers over here, asking them to either vacate their land, their houses that they have lived on for over 4 generations, or they start paying tax to a nearby dargah, because according to him, this whole land in this village belongs to the dargah thanks to the Waqf Act. உங்க வீட்ல வந்து எலக்ட்ரிசிட்டி எல்லாம் கட் பண்ணிருக்காங்கன்னு சொன்னீங்க. நீங்க ஏதாவது தहसीलदार
வீட்டுக்கு தாங்குது, அதையே நாங்க மெயின்டைன் பண்ணிக்கிறோம்.
ஏன் கட் பண்ணாங்க எலக்ட்ரிசிட்டி?
கட் பண்ணல. அப்போ வந்து மாமனாருக்கு ஒரே மீட்டர் தான் குத்தாங்க. இப்போ போய் புள்ளிங்க ஆனோடனே நாங்க கேட்டாக்க கொடுக்க மாட்டேன்றாங்க. பாய் கையெழுத்து போடணும், கையெழுத்து போட்டா குடுக்குறோம் நாங்க. அவங்க 1 லட்சம் ரூபாய் கேக்குறாங்க, எங்க போவாங்க 1 லட்சம் ரூபாய்க்கு?
You've heard from the villagers who claim their ancestral land has been grabbed. But the local mosque authorities claim the land has belonged to the Waqf Board since 1954.
Actually, it was gazetted in 1959. So in that itself, they have given clearly that what are all the properties belongs to our Waqf and all. So we have all the documents for that. And even till now, if you see the government records, it says that it belongs to our Dargah Waqf.
Even as villagers are now fighting it out against the Waqf Board, the Congress has sided with the Waqf.
Nobody wants to throw somebody outside. See, this is not the way this Indian government acts. Even Ambani lives in a Waqf property. Nobody wants to throw him out. Who wants to throw it? This Antilia is a Waqf property. He has taken it on a lease. So every Waqf property cannot be owned, because once Waqf is always a Waqf. You cannot stay away from the preamble, but you have to pay some rent to stay there.
Minority Affairs Minister Kiran Rijiju, however, has reiterated how the reform can help the aggrieved.
Work by user is a very dangerous provision. It doesn't require any document. So we remove that work by user. Henceforth, if any property has to be declared as work property, it must be through a deed of declaration.
And their own land, their own property, till today they need to prove their right to live here. Truly disappointing, and one can only imagine the kind of anxiety and anger all these residents here must be going through. With camera person Daniel, Anaga Keshav reporting for India Today from Vellore.
And Union Minister, the Minority Affairs Minister Kiren Rijiju has also visited Munambam in Kochi of Kerala, one of the areas where in fact you had families claiming their land was grabbed by the Waqf Board. And they had a massive event called Thank You Modi, and Kiren Rijiju attending that particular event in Munambam. Let's get you a reaction coming in right now from the minister.
देखो, मुनम्बम इशू के बारे में मुझे पहले से पूरा मालूम था। यहाँ कितने 604 परिवार कितने सालों से मुश्किलें।
Okay, we'll get you that full reaction from Minister Rijiju in just a bit. But you've got the Minority Affairs Minister sending across a very clear message in Munambam, where you had almost 600 families being affected by this decision. And remember those images when the bill was passed in Parliament of Munambam cheering on, celebrating the fact that this reform was passed. And so they had an event called Thank You Modi in Kerala, in Munambam, which the minister chose to attend. Important also to highlight here that this is part of also the BJP's campaign in Kerala, which goes to polls next year to reach out to the Christian community. In Munambam, for example, the families that were affected by the Waqf Board claiming their property was largely Christian communities, Christian families. And so this is an outreach clearly by the BJP. But the message going in from the central government at a time when you've got protests, controversy, political showdowns and whatnot, the message is very clear from Kiren Rijiju and from the government that they 100% back this reform, and they're trying to put the spotlight essentially on those who've been affected by the previous Waqf bill as it was, and so the need for the change. This is something the government is continuing to put the spotlight on. But a point that I mentioned earlier is about how the BJP in the run-up to the elections in Kerala, which is next year, is attempting to reach out to the Christian community. Now, let's break it down for you on how they're doing that. The issue of Munambam, for example, they're putting the spotlight on the plight of 600 Christian families in Munambam. And so taking that forward, there was a Thank You Modi event. The timing of this event crucial. It's happening in the Easter week. And this is clearly a message that the government is putting the spotlight on, saying, look, Congress MPs did not listen to the church on this issue, and yet we've ensured this reform was brought in. Rijiju also is meeting with a slew of church leaders. This even as the BJP is trying to get church bodies to back them, because that goes a long way really in influencing the Christian vote in Kerala. So it'll be interesting to see what really happens on this front and whether the BJP is really successful in kind of creating issues like Waqf, or for that matter like love jihad in Kerala in the elections next year. Let's get you a reaction from Kiren Rijiju.
Christian community in the rights avagasham adile effect cheyan povunillengil endondu Congress party inde UDF aya partner Muslim League endondu Supreme Court poyi challenge cheyunnu. അതുകൊണ്ട് ഇതെല്ലാം ഒരു കോൺട്രവേഴ്സി ഉണ്ടാക്കി ജനങ്ങളുടെ മനസ്സിൽ വിഷമം, ഒരു അൺസർട്ടനിറ്റി ക്രിയേറ്റ് ചെയ്യാനും അത് കോൺഗ്രസ് അവരുടെ ഒരു പ്രയാസം, അവരുടെ ഒരു എഫേർട്ട്.
And sticking to news from Tamil Nadu, in the biggest escalation yet in the centre versus state standoff, you had Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin today moving a resolution for autonomy of the state. He warned that state powers are being steadily eroded, transferred to the union, and so has urged for a re-evaluation of the constitution, as he's put it. He says we need this re-evaluation to protect federalism. So a committee has been formed by the DMK after this resolution, which is being led by former Supreme Court Judge Kurian Joseph, to study the issue, recommend steps to safeguard state rights. The committee is expected to submit the report next year, and then you could see developments over the course of many, many years. But Chief Minister Stalin says this is a long fight. He's raised issues like NEET, like the language war, like delimitation, to say that states must ensure their voice is heard. Let's get you all the reactions.
பசியால் வாடி தவிக்கும் தன்னுடைய குழந்தைக்கு என்ன உணவு கொடுத்திட வேண்டும் என்பது அந்த குழந்தையின் தாய்க்குத்தான் தெரியும். ஆனால் அந்த குழந்தை உண்ணும் உணவை கற்கும் கல்வியை கடந்து செல்லும் பாதையினை டெல்லியிலிருந்து யாரோ ஒருவர் தீர்மானித்தால் கருணையை உருவான தாய்மையும் பொங்கி எழத்தானே செய்யும். கூட்டாட்சி கருத்தியலை வலியுறுத்தும் வகையிலும் ஒன்றிய மாநில அரசின் உறவுகளை அதற்குரிய கொள்கைகளை மேம்படுத்திடவும் இந்திய அரசியலமைப்பு சட்டத்தின் விதிக்கூறுகள், நடைமுறையில் உள்ள சட்டங்கள், ஆணைகள் ஆகியவற்றை அனைத்து நிலைகளிலும் ஆராய்ந்து மறு மதிப்பீடு செய்திடவும் மற்றும் அதற்குரிய நடவடிக்கைகளை அரசுக்கு பரிந்துரை செய்திடவும் உயர்மட்ட அளவிலான குழு ஒன்றினை அமைப்பது என்று மிக மிக அவசியமாக வந்திருக்கிறது. உச்ச நீதிமன்ற மேனாள் நீதியரசர் திரு குரியன் ஜோசப் அவர்களை தலைவராக கொண்ட குழு அமைக்கப்படுகிறது.